In this video, we're going to take a closer look at the Switchbot contact sensor and motion sensor. Both of these devices are pretty affordable and they're easy to install, but can they help you automate the boring stuff? In this video, I hope to help you answer that question. So stick around because this is SlackerLabs. Welcome back to SlackerLabs. My name is Jeff. You may already know this, but I'm a fan of Switchbot. After all, this is a company that looked at the current state of smart appliances, and instead of adding another smart coffee maker to the market, invented a little bot that could automate your current coffee maker. They also looked at the smart curtain space, and instead of adding another smart curtain system to our list of choices, they created a little robot that could make our current curtains smarter. And if you haven't already seen, they've added contact sensors and motion sensors to their lineup. So in this video, we're going to take a look at what these devices can bring to our smart home. Before we get into that, I want to let you know that Switchbot did provide these devices to me at no cost so I could do this video. But the opinions that follow are my own. Now, before we get into who exactly these devices are going to be most useful for, let's take a look at the devices themselves. Both the Switchbot motion sensor and the contact sensor will set you back $24.99 in the US. The motion sensor can detect movement 30 feet away at an angle of 110 degrees horizontally and 55 degrees vertically. Weight-wise, it's light enough that you could stick it to a wall using the included base, but it could also just be placed on a shelf. To be a good motion sensor though, it needs to be fast, and in my tests so far, this one is pretty quick, both in registering movement and resetting back when the motion has ceased. It also has a light sensor as well, so this sensor can tell you if it's dim or bright in the room that it's in. The contact sensor is one of the more interesting contact sensors on the market because it also detects motion, which means this contact sensor can use that motion sensor to determine if the door was open from the inside or the outside. Installation is as easy as sticking it to your door using the included adhesive. But with contact sensors, alignment between the two components is key, and door trim may cause some issues. So if you have a door like this, you may need to do some modifications to get it to work consistently. But the method of installation is simple enough that you could use this device anywhere. Exterior doors, the kitchen cabinet with snacks in it, or even to let you know that your kid has fed the dog today, or that the litter box has been cleaned. The use cases for these devices is pretty much unlimited, but again, a lot of that is going to be based on your smart home platform. If you're deep in the Switchbot ecosystem, I think these devices are a must-have. They're priced well compared to their Z-Wave and Zigbee counterparts, and they're easy to set up. And you can use the Switchbot app to easily automate your Switchbot curtains, lights, and bots using these sensors. But if you're not looking to add another app to do smart home automations in, you can add these devices to your Amazon Echo and SmartThings. Unfortunately, you don't get access to that motion information from the contact sensor or the room brightness level from that motion sensor in those platforms. And if you're using the Google Home as your smart home platform, these devices are not going to be all that useful. To be clear, that isn't a Switchbot issue. That's a lack of basic smart home functionality in the Google Home platform. Because as of this video, Google doesn't allow you to kick off routines using devices like contact and motion sensors. But in the Amazon Echo, you could use the motion sensor to kick off your good morning routine when it senses motion in the kitchen. However, since you can't specify conditions around a trigger event in the Amazon Echo, I'm not sure that pattern is going to be all that useful. But you could have your kitchen lights turn on when there's motion in the kitchen, which is a typical use case. Or use a routine and that contact sensor to announce when a door is opened, which could be useful if you have little kids that are just now learning how to open the exterior doors. If you happen to be running SmartThings, these devices are a little more compelling. Because while you may not have access to all the information from these sensors, you can use other conditions and sensors inside of SmartThings to help make your automations smarter. Like if there's motion in the kitchen and the sun's down, you could have SmartThings turn on the lights. Or if there's motion in the living room and it's sunny outside, open the curtains. And if you wanted to go a bit further, you could link SmartThings to a Home Assistant instance and take your smart home to a whole new level. Which, for those of us using Home Assistant, the best way to add this contact and motion sensor to our instances is probably using SmartThings. So for Home Assistant users that aren't already running SmartThings alongside their instance, these devices may not be that good, at least not until there's an official Home Assistant integration. I think the Switchbot devices are good quality and the battery life is pretty good. Price-wise, they're comparable to other options on the market. But if you're looking for a local-only option or you're using Google Home as your smart home platform, these devices should be avoided. If you're using the Amazon Echo and SmartThings, I think these devices should be in your list of potential sensors. And of course, if you're all in on Switchbot with the Switchbot curtains or a Switchbot bot or the lights, these sensors are going to help you make those devices smarter. My only issue with these devices is we don't have access to that motion sensor from the contact sensor or the light level from that motion sensor in the other smart home platforms. And given Switchbot's approach to augmenting current processes, the lack of this information in the API and their official integrations seems to be a bit of a miss. I hope in the future that they update their integrations to provide this information to the other platforms. And of course, for me, I hope that one day we get an official Home Assistant integration. We can get around the lack of that integration using the Amazon Echo or SmartThings to get these devices into Home Assistant, but in that case we're relying on two different cloud services. Which isn't completely bad depending on your use case, it just means that there's more risk involved in using these devices with the Home Assistant platform. But for those okay with using one cloud service with some of their devices in Home Assistant, using two may be a bridge too far. If you're interested in adding these Switchbot devices to your smart home, Switchbot is running a Valentine's promotion through February 14th of 2022. And if you use the code 10TrueLove, you get 25% off of any of Switchbot's products. There are affiliate links in the description of this video. Again, a massive thanks to Switchbot for sending these devices to me so I could do this video. If you want to support SlackerLabs and the mission to help you automate the boring stuff, you can buy me a coffee, visit the SlackerLabs t-shirt store, or use those affiliate links in the description of this video. Or just let me know that you found value in this video by hitting that like button, and consider subscribing to my channel for more smart home content like this. As always, thanks for taking time out of your home automation projects to watch mine. Until next time, go automate the boring stuff.